just about to start making this little chrysanthemum. I've already rolled some paste and I'm using chocolate modeling paste in here just to make the chrysanthemum fully edible. Got two cutters, a larger one and a smaller one. Now you can use a plunge cutter or you can use just a plain cutter. Plunge is not so relevant. What you have to make sure is that when you press quite firmly and you use an abrasive mat, because if you don't, the petals will not separate nicely. So you need to make sure you've got a clean cut. Regardless what brand of cutter you use, the daisy cutters will always have a multitude of petals. So you have to press quite firmly, then release the petals, the layers of petals. And then you can cut as many layers as you like. For those kind of chrysanthemums, I would suggest about 3 to 4 layers of each size. Again, just press firmly, and then obviously if it's a plunge cutter, you can release with ease. You don't have to emboss, you just have to press a little bit harder. Now with this paste, we'll make a little cone and we'll start filling each petal individual. Just going to get a pad, and I have to use a soft pad and my Dresden tool with a round end. And from the tip of the petal, I will start shaping the petals, going from the very tip to the center of the layer one by one. It might be a bit time consuming, but the effect is great. Now, if you don't want to spend the time copying those petals, you can ensemble them as they are, but it's just going to look a little bit stiff and unnatural. So what I will do each layer in the same way, and I will leave the layers to set on the side so that I can set them later, maybe using into like a flower former, which I will create using the aluminum foil. Now I've mentioned about the modeling paste that I'm using, the Saracino modeling paste. Because it's got some chocolate in it, it just stays fresher for longer. Now the only paste which stays fresh is the fondant, but you cannot use fondant. I mean, you can, but it's a bit more challenging because fondant is usually soft and it will be really difficult to roll very thin. And if you don't roll very thin, then it will be tricky and sometimes impossible to cut with such an intricate cutter. So the cutter actually requires a sort of a paste which you can roll super thin. So that's either a chocolate modeling paste or a gum paste or flour paste. The gum paste does behave really nicely, but unfortunately when the flour gets dry, it's not edible. Not because it's anything wrong with it, it's still made out of an edible material, but it gets so hard that it's difficult to chew. So if you really want to make a fully edible flour, you will have to either use chocolate modeling paste or use some fondant. But obviously the fondant, it will not be the suitable paste for you to use for working with a super intricate cutter. Now, using the leftover paste, I'm going to make a little bubble, and I want that bubble to be fully covered with the smallest layer of petals. So I'm going to cover that center and then start building the flower by attaching the large layers first. Just put the layers one on top of the other and then complete the flower from the base towards the center and set the little center right in. Now it only took like less than 5 minutes to make a small flower, but you can obviously make it larger and increase the number of layers, but also the time. Bye. So if you found this little flower enjoyable, I will love to see your end results, and to just post your photos into the group. That will be great. And I look forward to see you tomorrow evening, when we'll do something different, but again, trying to fit in within that 5 minutes range. Take care.